Oh no, I have a clicky pen. I'm gonna put that down.
Oh no.
Pick up
All
some.
right, we are good to go.
All righty. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Replayer Podcast. I'm Pagan, your host this week. Joining me today is my co-host, Dan, and special guest, Maria. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. This week we got kind of a special episode. It was a bit I guess a different tune for them all. They still played a Retro Replay game on Retro Replay proper on Thursday, but this time they did it with speedrunners Anthony Caliber and Zalard 1, which is pretty cool. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, but wait, there's more. No. But first, welcome back, Maria. How are you?
I am good. I'm busy, but I'm good.
That's
it's great to be back.
Good.
It's exciting. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, the last time we saw you... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just wanting to comment on the busy but good, because I feel like that's been my response to anyone ever asking me how things are going for like the last year. Right. It's like busy but good.
Good
but busy.
Good.
Yeah. Literally sent another, I think I sent a text to somebody like that the other day. And it's like busy, but in a really good way. And they're like, cool. When do you want to meet up? I was like, never. I'm busy. Busy. Didn't you get that the first time? No, welcome back, Maria. The last time we saw you really was obviously when you were back on the podcast. But recently you also got to be on Retro Feud with Emmanuel. And you won.
I did. Yay.
Throw down, Maria.
I don't usually win I don't win anything, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
You did win nothing, so.
I won nothing.
Big old box of nothing.
It was like one of the first times we ever played that game. Like we had played it once before with Pyro and Lily. And then, of course, this time you guys had like almost teams, like John versus Nolan's team.
The team thing was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the visual cue thing was kind of hard because when we was doing the actual Zoom call, we couldn't really see John or Nolan on the webcam. So when they were doing stuff, that was off camera for us. So that's
why the visual cues didn't work for anybody.
And so that's the reason why, like on Twitter, people are like, "Oh, how did you not get that?" I'm like, I couldn't see him doing this. So,
you couldn't see it.
Yeah, you couldn't see it. So it's hard.
So I told Drew this. When we were having a meeting or something like that for Trailer Talk, and I was like, "Well, that's because we can't see. Because when we're in this, recording software, it will align us so that we all fit on the one screen. Yeah. So it kind of shortens everybody's cameras." And he's like, "You can just press the plus button, and it's almost like a Zoom call. When you press the plus button, it pins it so that it becomes the main video, and you can see the whole thing." And I was like, "Well, that's helpful information now."
Right? You could have told us that sooner, Drew.
Yeah. Obviously, it's right there. You can see the plus button. I've just never thought to click it before.
Well, I was so nervous doing that recording. I was just like, don't touch anything. Just answer the questions. So I was like,
just stay still. Make sure you answer.
I was just kind of like, yes.
Are they recording in some sort of like black market recording software that can't be named?
Yes.
that shall not be named.
Okay. Yes. Always. Nothing Retro Replay does is legit. How dare you assume?
Oh, right. Everything is hush hush and like.
Yeah, it's all hush hush.
Nothing's legal. None of it's legal.
It's like an online. It's like an online software. Like the point of me saying it wouldn't really help anybody because it doesn't describe what it is. So it's kind of like Zoom. But it also records locally on your end, I guess. So like it will record my camera and my mic locally and then upload that file to another file where Drew can download
where they
it.
Can conglomerate everything together to use for editing.
Exactly.
But that's not Lightstream, right?
No, God, no. Fuck Lightstream.
I was to say, I thought Lightstream was trash. So,
man, that
Lightstream is trash.
Yeah.
And look, Lightstream had its pluses and minuses. If it was only 2 or 3 people on the call, it's not terribly bad. We've just learned that the more people that are in the call, the worse it runs, and it just doesn't seem to want to pick up RTMP. It doesn't want to pick up pretty much anything over like 5 people. So yeah, that's terrible. But
That's good.
Yeah, it was. That's why the visual cue stuff didn't work for Emmanuel or Maria, and I was like, oh man, I wish we had known about that. But it was pretty good though, and it was nice to like see John. I really loved your reaction though, Maria. I have to say, when it was like, do you want to go with John or do you want to stick with me? And you, oh, Nolan. I was like, all right, Maria.
Yeah,
absolutely, Nolan.
Team
At least
Nolan.
pretend to be conflicted. Like, oh, I don't know, probably Nolan. Just
Oh,
Nolan.
Nolan, yeah.
Okay.
Duh.
Yeah.
It was also very sweet because as soon as you guys came on, like you guys didn't know John was going to be there, which is fun.
No.
And Emmanuel's first reaction was just, "Hi, Bender!" Like he was just so excited. He's like, "Oh my god, hi, Bender!"
Well, it's kind of a shock when you haven't because you don't know. Like I was really nervous, like before coming on there because for one, I have phone anxiety, so I don't talk on the phone very well. I also know I'm being recorded. I was also like thinking, I'm going to meet Nolan, I'm going to for the first time, so I'm kind of like, hyperventilating. And then you come on and it's like, hey, and you're like, oh, wow, that's a lot of energy. But no, it's really fun. Like it's really relaxed and
Just
stuff. And so
makes like your introvert brain derp a little bit and you're like,
yeah. Well, the problem is that we had this thing at my work one time and they did this personality diagnosis thing where they were like, oh, we can fit you into groups of what personality you are. And the idea was to see like who would work together the best. It was these people that came in. And I don't want to say diagnosed because it makes it seem like an illness, but I was a reserved extrovert. So I'm an extrovert where I like getting, like energy from people and I like to entertain and I like to be out there, but I'm also reserved where I don't like to talk to people and I don't like to put myself out there and I get scared. So I have like two personalities that conflict each other. And so it's like, yeah. Well,
I don't see that. That's really interesting to know because I feel like anytime we've interacted, you've been so like bubbly and personable and cheerful and it doesn't seem like you're nervous at all. And
I have the worst anxiety.
Oh, no way.
Besides being a self-proclaimed introvert, what would you have thought I was when we met, Pagan?
Oh, you're an introvert.
Oh, yeah. I say it this way. Whenever I talk about it, I claim to be an introvert that plays well at being an extrovert. Like I've learned to play extroverted. I feel like,
yeah, you do well. Like you do well in social situations with people that you've never met before. Clearly from this podcast, that's all I can go from experience wise. That's how we've known each other. But I don't know. I don't know if you would volunteer yourself in those situations outside of this context, if you know what I mean. Like if they're like, hey, this is big party going on. I'm like, yeah. Me, I'd be like, oh, that sounds, you have a good time.
Have fun.
Take care. And I'm going to stay at home. Like I'm very much like if there's a social gathering of like 8 people, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And it depends on the people as well.
Yeah.
For me,
you
then I'll be
could
like,
easily
yes,
ask like any of like my buddies from like back in New York, and like anytime they'd be like, hey, we're gonna go to this thing. Do you want to come? You're probably not, but do you want to come? And I'm like, no. And then they'll be like, well, there's gonna be like food and booze and stuff. I'd be like, no. My inner person, my inner person is a bit like that. Was it Hagrid from Harry Potter? Like whenever I do something, I'm like when you said, oh, like sign up for Retro Feud. So I know it was a while ago, but I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'll do it. The moment I had said I was going to, the Hagrid was like, you should not have done that. You should not have done that. That anxiety flare.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, oh no, what did I want? No, I don't want to do that. Why do I want to do that? After Retro Food finished recording, I had the worst anxiety until it aired. The worst. Because I was like, I made an idiot of myself on the internet. Everyone's going to laugh at me. Everyone's going to hate me. And I just was like,
but don't you already do that for fun on Twitch?
Yeah, that's the thing. I do. But I'm just like, but I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, people are going to see it and people think I'm an idiot and I've ruined everything. And that's kind of why I said,
oh, no.
That's half the reason why you got that message from me as well, because I was kind of freaking out.
Yeah, I got this message from Maria once the first episode of John DiMaggio aired, the April Fool's episode. That obviously doesn't have a replayer feud in it. It had, I think, Between the Adventures, if I'm not mistaken, or an Uncle Noli. And Anna Maria, bless you, like sent me a message and was like, "Hey, did we just get cut from the show? Like, I would totally understand if that's the case, but I just wanted to know. Like, I thought we were gonna." And I was like, "No, you're definitely coming." I was like, "I'm sorry, it is airing next week. It's kind of a surprise that he's coming back. So just don't say anything until it airs. Like, it's more like oh yeah, we'll see you sometime soon, and then like he's back." And she's like, "Okay, great. I just thought we did something wrong." I was like, "No, we would never cut you. It's okay."
Yeah, it's one of those weird things that my brain is like, "Oh man, you were so bad. They're not going to use your content." And I was like,
"Oh my gosh, no."
No, it's terrible. But I do this thing that I'm like, I'm getting a lot better with it now. Like I'm trying to put myself out there a little more. Like with the streaming helps because it makes you like, get out there, like forces yourself. But then whenever I'm trying to make a decision and be like, do I want to do something? My brain says, no, you don't. But then I'm like, but what if I don't? I'm going to regret it. So it's the whole like the mantra I've basically is the commit to the bit thing has basically been my little mantra that I've been using where I'm like, do it, fuck it. What could possibly go wrong? So it's one of those just like, just take a chance.
Have either of you watched Big Mouth on Netflix?
Yes.
Have you seen like the newer episodes with the anxiety mosquito?
Yes, that's me.
That's all I picture too is like the anxiety mosquito like buzzing over your head like you're going to be terrible. They're going to hate you.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I have. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I check my Fitbit sometimes and it's like, and I'm just like, yeah. It's so bad.
But it worked out so well. And you guys got on so well with John and Nolan and they started ripping on you for your accent in Tennessee. And I just think like, it's just beautiful. Those moments are so great.
That was inevitable.
You knew that was going to happen. For sure. Like Nolan and John definitely have a way of making you relax.
Well, it's also as well, like I was pissing around with the Tennessee accent and I wasn't going to do that. I was just like, no, don't be silly. Don't be silly. Like I couldn't help it. I kind of have idiot Tourette's where I can't help myself. So I was just like, because I was the whole time I was thinking, because I'm always pissing around doing a Tennessee accent, because people ask me all the time, they go, what do you mean you're from Tennessee? And so I'm like, all right, I do the silly accent. And people like around here do actually talk like that. It's hilarious. And I wasn't good. I was like, don't do it. Don't sort of thing. And I wasn't going to do it. But then Nolan said, oh, I can tell by your strong Tennessee accent. And I was just like, well, I'm from East Tennessee. And then after that, I was like,
it was good.
I was like, you should not have done that. You should not have done that.
No, it was so good.
Like, you should not have done that.
Honestly, you guys nailed it. I think it was great. I think like that kind of stuff is really good. And if you vibe with them, just vibe. Like trust your gut, man. It went really well. I thought it was really good.
Commit to the bit.
Commit
now I
to the bit. If you've
so
learned anything today, folks,
like Emmanuel having trouble understanding some of the things that John was doing, because he did a lot of visual gestures as well, and people were like, "How did you not know that?" It's like he couldn't see him, like going like this, like pulling.
We could not see him. For context, for visual viewers, what we could see was like when they introduced themselves, we could see like Nolan and then like John, and then when all of us came in and they put it through to widescreen, we saw this much.
Yes.
Of each of them. We saw like an eyeball and their shoulder.
Yeah.
And their eyeball and their shoulder and the middle of like the camera view, if you know what I mean.
For the audio
like,
listeners, Pagan basically stepped off camera. It was like, this is what we could see.
Yeah, you can check that out on YouTube. we basically saw like just a little bit of their face, a quarter of each of their bodies.
Well, that's why
had we known about the plus sign, Drew, at the time, it would have been much easier.
Well, that's why in the message, that's why in that message I sent you, I was like, that was John DiMaggio, right? Because I didn't actually see his face, but I saw the tattoo on his arm, and I'm like, it was him, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like,
I think you had popped in. I think you had popped in slightly later than Emmanuel, right? Like you like, and I mean like a couple of seconds, because Emmanuel saw it straight away, because obviously, like we said, the more people that come into the software,
the more
the smaller those cameras gets. To trip it down. He was like, "Oh, hi, Bender," and then I think your camera came in and it cropped them again. So that's what we ended up with, is a crop of their shoulders. So I do apologize for that and not knowing about the plus thing. Had I known about that earlier, I would have told you, and it would have been a must.
Oh, now everybody knows.
Thank God I know now. My bad.
What?
This whole time I had no fucking clue. I was looking at the same thing every other replayer was looking at.
I think that same thing kind of happened to us when we did the Uncharted multiplayer event with Cooper and Nolan too. We couldn't see them. We had to watch the live feed on YouTube and actually to actually see them. I think
that was live stream.
Yeah.
That was live stream. Grr, live stream.
Your nemesis. No more, right?
No more. Well, I don't know.
Might come back.
Yeah, I don't know. For now, I mean, Todd is on holiday, I think, in the South Coast. Don't quote me on that. He's on holidays somewhere and doesn't have access to his full setup and everything, so isn't streaming gameplay. So it's easier for them right now to just stream direct through like OBS or whatever they're using to YouTube.
Good old OBS. Can't go wrong there.
Hopefully light stream can just
never goes wrong.
Yeah, right. It'll still go wrong.
Streaming problems.
Streamer life.
It wouldn't. Yeah, it's not a live stream without technical difficulties, guys.
Right?
It's just not a live stream. Yeah. But yeah, moving on to this week's timely topics. I guess there are a couple of things that came up recently in the news. A couple of weeks ago, Valkyrae and Courage JD, or Jack Dunlop, they became co-owners of 100 Thieves, which is an esports compound in LA. That was created by Nate Schott in 2017. And this is a really big step, I think. And I think it's gotten a lot of media and press, especially because of Valkyrae's position. She's one of the first female co-owners of an esports compound or esports competitions and stuff. And I think it's pretty cool. She's paving the way.
Yeah, right? Women in gaming. Rock on.
Women in gaming. And on that like topic, and not to like discourage anything from Courage, but not to like move anything away from Courage JD, because he's also worked very hard and totally deserves to be a co-owner as well, which is fantastic. I just think that like there was a lot more focus because of the women in gaming and because of like, this is a massive feat. And I think recently she was the most viewed streamer.
I was going to say, I actually have like the information here about that, which I wanted to just read off here real quick for everybody who doesn't know. Valkyrae, based on gaming analytics by Stream Hatchet, estimates that fans spent 24 million hours watching her during the pandemic. And Valkyrae is the fastest growing live streamer in the entire world, and now the biggest female gaming streamer, which is insane.
That is insane.
Right. Yes, indeed.
And I never even heard of Valkyrae until last year when she won the Content Creator of the Year award.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah.
I've been following Valkyrae's content for a good while, when she was on Twitch as well. She's just passed, 3.32 million subscribers on YouTube. And she definitely is one of the fastest growing female streamers. I think she had something like 12 million views or something like that recently, like in her content and in her channel or something like that. And really her rise, and I think you can actually see this in an interview, especially on the 100 Thieves channel on YouTube. They do an interview with Jack Courage JD and Valkyrae about they owning the channel, and like kind of just giving them brief history of what they did. And like she really grew with Among Us. Like she's obviously grown with like a lot of like diverse games. She was a variety streamer, and then she streamed Fortnite, and she did a lot of Fortnite videos with like Myth and Pokimane and all this kind of stuff, and then moved into like Among Us when the pandemic hit last year. And Among Us became like really huge for a lot of streamers, pretty much boosted her followers from like, I think she said something like she had an average of about 2,000 viewers on Twitch. And now she's working with an average of about 23,000 viewers on Twitch, on YouTube Live. So in less than a year. Yeah, it's insane. And she's grown, I think, from just under 1 million to over 3 million followers now, or subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, huge.
There's me being like, oh, yeah, 74. I got 74.
You could be the next Valkyrie.
Yeah, right.
That's still great. No, I just like she's been doing it for a long time. And she's great at what she does. But yeah, big moves for women in gaming. They also added Kyedae to their roster now. She's joined 100 Thieves company in the compound. And that's pretty cool too. She's an upcoming female streamer. She started streaming in October last year. Yes, October last year. She started dating Tens from Cloud9 Gaming, who was a professional Valorant player.
Yeah, Valorant.
He used to play Valorant professionally for Cloud9 and is stepping back from that in January. But he and Kyedae, I think, started dating, and then she was like, she loved games anyway, and then he convinced her to start streaming and making content on YouTube and Twitch, and she grew, and she's like blown up. And it's pretty cool to see her being added to the 100 Thieves compound now as well, because it's good moves for women in gaming. Mm-hmm. Their last 3 announcements, actually no, because Austin also joined 100 Thieves recently. So their last 3 announcements, 2 of them were female. It was Brooke AB and Kyedae, which is cool.
It's just crazy how that space for like streamers blowing up like this and then getting picked up by an esports team is kind of like almost being drafted for like a football team or a basketball team or something.
Yeah.
And it's like you're seeing esports kind of become more of this legitimate thing, and it's millions and millions of dollars that they're playing for and raising and earning, and in and out in both ways and other ways, and charity streams and charity donations. It's incredible what all this has happened in the last few years.
Yeah. It's an incredible rise as well for esports. Obviously, esports was always kind of a thing, but it has really blown up in the last couple of years. And there are now scholarships, esports scholarships, to universities and stuff. Yeah, no, there is, and I think the percentage is very small of female players, and I think that's what they're trying to accomplish as well, is like to try and get more of that diversity in that industry, because it has been predominantly male based. Yeah. So it's kind of cool now that there are quite a lot of gamers, and I'm hoping that eventually it will just iron out the toxicity among this like fucking, I don't know what toxic generation that these people come from, but Jesus Christ, they need to
that's something to me as a male gamer that still baffles my mind when people, like female gamers, tell me about the kind of bull crap that they have to deal with online in any online format or space when it comes to gaming. And it's like, what? Why? What is wrong with you? Like,
literally, because I actually really like playing Valorant. I have played it before. Sorry, Liam and Todd. I actually really enjoy playing Valorant. I find it a good game, but I will never go into open mic. Yeah. I'll never be in groups where mics are open or anything like that. Like, I will just, if there's a chat, I'm fine with chat. People can just assume what they want from my username. I don't care. But I will never go into open chat, because I've seen so many streamers have so much crap with just randoms on the internet, because they randomize you into groups unless you play with friends.
Yeah, you have to play with a squad specifically, and that's
it's just dog shit. And actually, I think there aren't enough rules in place or enough reporting or security or support really from the Valorant team in Epic that they need to up their game, because I think there's not enough support against those toxic behaviors. Like, you can't really report something, like it doesn't really matter or doesn't do anything. And that's kind of shit, especially if you're playing with a group of friends and you get maybe 2 or 3 randoms into your chat and they're just dog shit and they're throwing the game and they're calling in all sorts of things and trying to get back in the kitchen.
I mean, there's not really much you can actually do about it, really. It's kind of like, when kids call you names in school, it's one of those just like, oh, we'll suck it up. And you're like, yeah, no, but it's spoiling my experience, So it's one of those, well, just block them. It's like, yeah, but it's not the point. We need to stop the culture of this happening.
Yes.
So it's like, it's, the school bullies, you have to like, yeah, but just ignore them. Yeah, but it's still happening though. It's, so it's just the problem. Yeah, but I've never actually experienced
much of it. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe they look at me and just like, she's an idiot. I don't care.
They don't waste their time bullying you.
Yeah, they're just like, she bullies herself. It's fine.
I think like probably out of every lobby that I've seen played on maybe Valorant in particular, maybe 1 in 6, maybe 1 in 5, depends on like whatever those lobbies, someone will be toxic and say something fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Which is an okay statistic, but it still shouldn't fucking happen. And that's usually because if you're and I presume you have this in other games as well, same with Fortnite. If you have a random and you guys play well together and they're not assholes and you actually enjoy like playing the game and you guys did well, it's usually like, okay, well, let's just play again. And then everybody just plays again. So
you regroup. Yeah,
exactly. I think the more time you randomize, the more chance obviously you're going to get toxic bullshit coming through. And it's really sad to just see because it definitely does put people off. Like I just will never play open mic'd games. I won't do it in Overwatch, not Valorant, not Fortnite, nothing. Like I can't do it, man. I just think it's toxic and I don't need that shit.
My first ever like experience of online gaming, and this was like years ago. And so it wasn't online. I wasn't playing anybody, but it was this game that there was a thing that came out on the PC where you could stream games and play them. And it was like Origin or something. It was something came out years and years ago. And so I had a really shit PC. And so the idea of me playing games on my PC was not a thing. So this website came out where you could stream games. And I was like, oh, I could play that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I don't think it took off, but you could play them live, but it was a thing. Well, they had this thing where people could, talk in like people could say stuff on the mic while you're on. Well, I'm playing Alien versus Predator and I'm just playing the game by myself and just being like, oh, this is so cool, I'm playing Aliens. And I go around and then over the mic I'm just playing and then someone goes, you're shit at this game. And I was just like, I instantly just put my controller down and was like,
that's so weird. Why would that be an option? Why is that a feature that other people could just chime in and be like, you suck?
It was just like it was just like a spectator mode, and he was like, you're fucking shit, and I'm like, just I just turned it off, and I was like, someone's watching me. I don't like it.
Like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't realize people were watching me, and I was just like, after that, I was like, I'm getting bullied by my laptop.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I mean. It's nice now to have things like
Maybe
Twitch.
That's why that service isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
It's a fucking shit service. You imagine just like hopping into like somebody's random stream and just opening your mic being like, hey, you're shit.
Yeah. That's exactly
what it's like.
Yeah, it would never end.
Twitch would not be a thing.
Nah, you could get multiple voices. It'd just be crap. No, but it is really interesting that you've mentioned that as well, because Cloud9 also do, I think, a fortnightly live stream on Twitch as well, where they talk about like mental health and gaming and stuff. And that was really interesting because recently they were talking about trolling.
Right.
And that was just like an interesting conversation because there is that kind of like, that person might not even have cared that you or who you were, or what you were playing. They were just going to be like, oh, you're shit to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting as well.
Especially that's what some people do.
Yeah. But this is the thing, like, because again, on what Maria was saying is like, you're just told to ignore that shit. Like, just ignore it, whatever. Or if they come into your chat on Twitch and they're being assholes and your mods aren't there or whatever, and you're just like, oh, just ignore it. And there is just a point where you're just like, I don't want to ignore this anymore. Yeah. I just want to call this person out for whatever the fucking shit that they do. And
unfortunately with stuff like that though, like, you can have everyone in the world tell you you're amazing, you're great, you're this, but one person tells you you're bad, and that's the person you listen to. So you can have millions of people in your chat or in life or whatever say to you, you're amazing, you're great. Like I post, my artwork or whatever like that and stuff, and everyone goes, that's really good. But if one person says, well, shit, I'm like, I'm a failed artist, and so it's like, why do we listen to those people? But you do. Yeah. So it's like when you have your chat open and you have someone trolling you, you don't want to acknowledge it, but you do. And it's just like, it's one of those, like, just ignoring it. It's not enough. Something does need to be done to kind of address that, Like,
and in any sense, it's really difficult for anyone to take that kind of criticism. And I was just thinking about this the other day where the way we as people react to things, we focus on the negative, or you dwell on that specific thing. So it doesn't matter how much positive feedback you get that one. And it's like, here's an example. When PJ comes into the live chat and sees the one downvote on the video and he's like, what the fuck, you know, it drives you crazy, especially when you're proud of something that you're doing and you're proud of the product that you've made or the artwork, music, what have you. And there's those who just thrive on that negative energy, and they will go out of their way they get that reaction out of people because they're like, because it just fills them with joy for some reason. And you're just like, why would you do this? Yeah. Why?
It's like kind of like, it's that without consequence thing, because you can't punch someone in the face through the TV screen, unfortunately. So, so they could just be like, you're shit, and then run away. You know, you can't, if there was consequences, maybe they wouldn't say that, but it's just because they can and they get away with it. Yeah. They do it and they're just like, hee, I just said shit. You know?
See, now we've talked about trolling on the podcast before, and I've always said that my go-to tactic is to troll the troller. And I'll like double it back on them or something in some way to like, I will purposely try to get a rise out of them and mess with them back rather than feeding into the troll. And I've had it before too in my own streams where somebody comes in and says like, oh, you missed this, or you didn't do that, or you're not doing this, or you're too slow, or you're not, you know, all that normal crap. And I'll straight up just be like, that's not how I play the game. And I don't want to play it that way. So if you don't like it, find another stream.
Take care. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
But it takes a lot of character to be able to do that, though, to put yourself in that mental space of I am able to take this negativity and just kind of push it to the side and pull like a Jackie Chan or Karate Kid and like wax off, wax on, just kind of deflect it and just move on with your life and not let it just, you know,
consume you. Yeah. That is the issue. And like Maria was saying, like they can just like put in the comment and run away and like don't care, forget about it the rest of the day. They don't care. Whereas somebody could be sitting on that. Yeah. There has been comments before that have been made in my chat that I'm just like, that person doesn't realize that I've still thought about that comment. I haven't streamed in over a month, and that comment was probably made over 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm still thinking about that fucking comment. And I'm like, why can't I ever just get off this? Because eventually you have a good day and then you might be like, okay, blah, blah. And then like the particular comment was actually about my weight. And I was like, oh, whatever. Blah. And then just proceeded to just continue with my stream. And now anytime I have a bad day and I look at myself in the mirror or catch my reflection or whatever, and I'm like, wow. And then I'll just think about that comment. And it's horrible because you really just can't get away from that. But there is a tact and like, there has to be like a mental capacity, like you said, Dan, to like just be able to just Karate Kid that shit away from you and be like, I don't care about your opinion. I don't care whatever it is. And
I want to acknowledge that it's a uniquely extra difficult situation for females in that
I would agree,
regard. Like, especially that kind of thing. Like, it's terrible out there that there's those out there. I mean, probably men and women who target female, you know, entertainers and thinking like, I can make this one little comment that will ruin their day. Haha, you know, but it seems like, you know, females get targeted more, and that's just, it's disappointing, honestly.
It is. And I think a lot of times as well, girls are a little bit more reluctant to tell someone to go suck one. You know, it's a little bit more, girls are a little,
just stand up and like suck it.
Put, thank you.
Exactly. Like girls are a little bit less likely to just be like, you know what? Fuck off.
You know what? So, this is where like insert like cutaway to Psych right now where they go, suck it, you know.
Well, sometimes you get like people on there and you know, kids, it's usually like teenage boys, I'm assuming, that come out with silly shit all the time. And like, they'll say something like, oh man, you sound like a boy. And I'm like, well, you sound like a prick. fuck off. and then they're just like, you don't hear from them again. And it's just like, they're just like, oh, she yelled at me.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's kind
they
of
can't
thing.
take it back. Oh my God, they can't take it back. There's been a lot of TikTok users as well. Like it's actually been like blowing up for female streamers.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who would like put their toxic shit into like the video where like someone would be like, get in the kitchen or like whatever, like what you dumb bitch or whatever and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, okay. And they start calling them shit back and like annihilating them in the game, and they just can't hack it, and they start screaming and they're frustrated, and then they just leave the lobby. So yeah, there's definitely certain mentalities, especially when it's live, when you're actually when they're saying shit live to you in a chat. Is like so much different than just a comment on the internet. Somebody's going to make that comment and be like, it's not even like, oh, I'm just going to make the comment that it's going to ruin someone's day. I feel like they're just going to be like, oh, it's the internet. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can express my opinion. They're either never going to read it, or if they do, fuck it, I don't care. And that's kind of worse because you're like, you've just put that out there in black and white print on the internet. On the internet. And you just thought that it would never come to this, and yet it fucking hurts somebody else.
It does.
And they've thought about it forever.
Unfortunately as well, there's a lot of people on the internet who are vulnerable, and they're playing games because they are trying to find a community that they fit into, and you don't know what people's comments are going to do to people. And so there's a way you need to have a thick skin, and you do have to say to someone, you know what, fuck off. But also as well, you still have to be yourself. Don't make such a thick skin that you have changed the person you are because trolls have made you that way.
That's when you become me and you go dead. You're dead inside. You've officially run out of the fuck it all pills, and you're just like, welcome to my stream. You turn into Eeyore.
And so it sucks, but I mean it's stupid.
It is what it is, isn't it? Hopefully it'll change, and I think that like the community is growing, and things like this are paving the way. Things like Valkyrae becoming a co-owner of an esports team. Things like Kyedae like being made part of the compound, and Brook AB. And it's just like, it's really great to see more women in gaming, more women streamers in gaming. There's so many amazing, great female content on there, like Wendy Young and Yvonne and Foosley and everybody. Like they're coming out on the internet and they're being themselves, and they're being female because they fucking are, and it's just nice. It's nice to see the representation as well in gaming industry and in lives. So hopefully that kind of toxic behavior is on its way out. But speaking of live streamers, we had a special guest this week on the Retro Replay show, Anthony Caliber, and of course Zallard1, who I'm not sure if they actually live stream or not. I know that they make YouTube content, but I'm not sure if they actually live stream. Zallard1 does. So that was kind of cool. I wanted to get your take on speedrunning and the art of speedrunning. We've seen Anthony Caliber's content before on the YouTube channel on Retro Replay with Uncharted, as well as The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. What do you guys think of speedrunning in general? Is it something that appeals to you as content creators or people who watch content?
I'll let Maria take on that. Go for it.
I think it's impressive. I mean, impressive and the thing is, you have to remember, it's not something that someone does just in one go. It's not like, I'm going to see how quick I can do this. These people spend years to learn how the tricks of this game to get as good as they are. Like, so it's kind of admirable that people are like spending that much time in a game to try and find these little tricks and things. So it's really cool to watch. When I was watching the Punch Out, I was just like, what is happening? It's kind of, because that game is notoriously hard. So yeah, it's really interesting to watch. Like I love seeing them, like the little tricks that they find, and you're like, how long have you spent on this game to find that? It's insane.
We gotta think about the I want to say the nerd statistics that go into it, because he was talking about frames and like counting frames. He it's a science. He gets it down to where he can like literally in his head picture how many frames are happening based on like the sound cues, and he can count, okay, bing, bing, bing. Okay, now I dodge, now I punch, now I dodge, now I punch. He's got that shit mapped out in his brain. And it's like, that takes so much time and practice, and it's not easy.
No.
I mean, it's such an incredible feat to speedrun a game in general. And then to speedrun it blindfolded, Zallard1, is just fucking insane. I'm sorry for saying, but holy bejesus, that was insane. And like Drew said, it just looked stupid easy.
Incredible. You made that look stupid easy. Like, that's amazing.
Like, he just made it look incredibly easy to do. So, I mean, good job, buddy. That looks like a difficult thing.
Yeah,
have you guys ever... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say he took out freaking Tyson in like, what was it, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and never got hit once. So, okay, go ahead.
It's definitely a science. I actually haven't watched many of Zellard1's YouTube videos, but I think now after that content, like I definitely would, because as you said, like it's just so interesting to see how many years of work he's just put in to, I guess, speedrun all of the Punch-Out games in the Punch-Out series. But have you ever watched any of the speedrunning live to see what happens like as they're doing it?
I can't say I've ever watched a live speedrunning ever. And I'm of two minds of speedrunning. And we've discussed this on the show before when they brought Anthony Caliber on, where some speedruns I will watch kind of like as a random thing. And I'll be like, damn, this is crazy. And then of the two mind split I have is it's the glitching or the non-glitching version. I feel like the glitching version is almost cheating. Like I get it. I see, I'll watch a glitch speed run and think, wow, this is impressive. Holy crap. This is insane that they can do this. But at the same time, I'm like, but you're not really playing the game. You're bypassing massive chunks of it. And then I see like what Zallard. Okay, Zallard. I see what Zallard did. He actually is just really effing good. Yeah. He wasn't glitching. He wasn't cheating the game. He's just really, really good to the point where he has his timing down impeccably and he dodges everything. He never gets hit and he knows just when to hit and just when to land those star punches. And he's dropping those boxers really fast. That to me is insanely impressive.
Yeah.
On the flip note, though, I was going to say I watched a speedrun of Fallout New Vegas where somebody glitched through the entire game in like, I think 15 minutes. And it was with the developers watching and they were like, what? Huh? How? And that made it funny because if the developers weren't there giving commentary, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. If I was just watching that speed run.
Because like when I watched the Uncharted speed run that Anthony did on the show, like there was points in the game where I was like, oh man, this bit of the game is a bitch. And I can't wait to see how he does this. And then he just glitched through it. And I was like, he just goes, I wanted to see it.
It's the shooting the bloater in the foot before he even drops down. What the fuck? Like that blew my mind. Like I took so long to get past that section. And just even before he drops down, you just shoot him in the foot. And it's like everyone's like, that's it? That's it? He's like, yeah, that's it. Like I feel like Anthony also has like this like humbleness about him where he's just like, yep. That's just it. Like, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just you do it, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is really cool.
And then I replay the game and I'm like, you just shoot him in the foot. You just shoot him in the foot. And then I do it and I'm like, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, why does it work for me? It's because I can never get the fucking aim in time before he even drops down. I'm like aiming and he's dropped down. I was like, oh, feck. Fucking Molotov cocktails.
It makes me think about like as a kid, you know, when I played video games, obviously when I didn't have control over what video games I played other than what my parents bought me, there was that time when you only play a handful of games, if any, you know, like you play 1, maybe 2 games a year and you put all of your time and energy into that game and you get really good at that game. Like think about our discussion about the Lion King video game way back when. I was like, that game's easy. No. It's because I played the shit out of it when I was a kid to the point where like I had it all down. I could get through that thing like a beast. And then I go back to play it, you know, last year and I'm like, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is a game for children. Why can't I do it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, like, I mean, in general, I think with speedrunning, where you said, like, it's a science and it takes them years and everything, when you watch it live, Anthony was doing a speedrun recently of The Last of Us Part 2. I'm sure he's still going. I just haven't popped into his stream in a while. But was doing speedrun of, like, the first part and the second part and everything. And it's so interesting because as soon as one small thing goes wrong, either in the game or he messes up in some way, whatever, it's just like, oh, no. And then has to like restart the checkpoint.
And I've done that,
so
trying
quick,
to get
and he's like, well, I gotta go back and do it this time. And then he'll like comment on what he did or what's went wrong or what happened here. And that must be so frustrating. I think the biggest problem with me is like I hate repetition almost. Like
that makes me wonder. I was gonna say that reminds me of trying to get trophies or achievements in games. And Maria, you watched me stream Doom Eternal, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Do you remember when I was doing that final boss fight?
Yep.
And like I would hit the points where it's like, oh, nope, I just missed that attack, or I missed the rocket launch, or I missed the jump. And I'm like, I just restart the whole fight over again because I'm like, there's no point in even going on from here.
No way. I stick it out. Even in like the Sigrun God of War,
it's basically
the Valkyrie Queen. I'm like, I just have to stick it out. I know it was crap, but I just have to die now and then I'll restart.
Well, for like Doom, if you know, okay, this boss takes forever to beat, and if I missed an attack, the chances of you actually completing the fight become smaller and smaller and smaller, to the point where like I'm eventually just going to die and have to restart anyways. I might as well just restart now.
I've never done that though. I don't know. I'm not a quitter. I'm just like, I believe in myself until it's really, really too late. like I'm already half dead, and it's like I haven't even touched her health bar, and I'm like, I got this. I can still. No, it's not.
Well, in something like God of War, I think it's different because God of War you could kind of clutch it, but in Doom Eternal, it's
just not gonna happen.
No,
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm not all about the repetition. I can't say speedrunning is something that I am particularly interested in, like doing myself, but I do find it very fascinating, like you say, to see like their cheats, the way that they use the glitches. If they don't use the glitches, how are they? It is fascinating though.
Find me speedrunners. I like this. The Retro Replay speed play. This is. I don't have to do anything. I don't feel emasculated or shitty about myself like I usually do when I leave here.
Really? I wonder if, especially in like Uncharted 3 and stuff, when they're skipping like whole scenes and whole cutscenes and stuff, I'm wondering, like, do the developers ever go back on a game, like patches and everything, and be like, oh shit, there's a glitch there? Like, does that ever happen? Or they're like, nah, that would fuck up some speedrunners, so we should probably just leave that alone.
I think for newer games, yes, but for older games, they've pretty much left them well alone. Like if you think back before like the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, games didn't get patches. Once they shipped, That was it. Any glitches that were in the game stayed in the game forever. And I know, like, I think Anthony Caliber, when he plays Uncharted 3, he plays the PS3 version of the game.
Oh, I see. Yes.
He doesn't play the remastered version.
Yeah.
Because the remastered version doesn't have all the glitches in it. At least not all of them, but it's like some of them might have been fixed or patched for the remaster.
I guess if a game is getting publicity through because speedrunners are doing it because it's so glitchy, I mean, developers are probably like, well, people are buying the game because it's glitchy and they can speedrun it. So it's, all news is good news. It's like publicity, so.
Right.
Well, if anybody else knows, like if you're listening to this right now and you're like, no, I'm a game dev and we would definitely patch that shit if we saw it in The Last of Us Part 2, let us know. Put in the comments. Like, let us know on YouTube. Let us know on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this. Let me know because I would love to be corrected.
Please correct us. I don't know.
Like, I feel like if I made the game and I was watching someone speedrun it and they were like, I'm just going to glitch in here, and that was like my section of the game to work on, I'd be like, holy shit, I messed up. I'm fucking, oh my God. Oh, somebody get me something.
You got to think about how most of the time
those
glitches are usually really difficult to activate, though.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just walking along and then you just slingshot into the distance.
Some of the ones that Anthony did with like Uncharted, where he was like, you have to shoot at the wall and go up with the gun. And you're like, how did you figure that out?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it just gets passed, right? It gets passed from knowledge to knowledge. Somebody did it by mistake at one point. Was like, I wonder if that works again, and then it just got passed down.
Yeah,
that kind of shit, though, I really like. I really like that about speedrunning in terms of there's a whole community around it, and there's a whole kind of like, hey, if you do this, it'll get you here. And that kind of reminds me of like back in the day with cheat codes. Or someone would figure out a cheat code or someone would figure out this and they'd be like, oh my God, because you didn't have the internet to look it up at that point. You had to find out, you had to ask people. It was like stuff where like Hideo Kojima is like, plug it into player 2, like that kind of stuff. You usually find that out through other people who've played the game. And at the time, I guess the internet was like starting up and stuff. So I suppose like it was there, but that kind of stuff is cool. I really enjoy that community sense.
I've always loved that aspect of gaming back then. Like if you played video games before the internet, if you're old enough to have existed before the internet, and it was a thing where you would go to school and talk to your friends and be like, hey, I just got to this part of the game. What did you do when you got to this part? And they'd say, oh, I did this and I went here and I did this. And if you go to this wall and you shoot it with a rocket, it'll blow open. And there's a bunch of secrets in there. And you're like, oh shit, now I got to go do that. And Metal Gear was kind of that prime example of that, where that game had a lot of like sneaky stuff in it. And I remember playing that game, and there's the part where you're supposed to call Meryl, and the colonel will say, you look at the back of the CD case, Snake, to find her number. And I'm like, where? And I'm searching all over the game, and I'm looking at my inventory, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was finally like, it just kind of dawned on me, like looking at the case for Metal Gear and like, did they mean this one? And you flip it over, and sure enough, there's a screenshot of Meryl with her fucking number. And it's like,
it's insane.
Unless somebody told me that, it took me forever to figure it out.
Yeah. It was like gaming urban legends, they've always like, oh, you can do this. It's like, no, you can't. I used to sell cheat codes at school.
Stop, Maria. Are you serious? You used to sell cheat codes?
Yes. I have
amazing.
I was from East London. I mean,
I was from East London. I was also selling cigarettes, mate.
So I had this red book.
You want some cheat codes with those cigarettes?
It was those like old phone books you used to get. They used to have like the alphabet on it, and so I had each game with the alphabet and stuff, and I'd go to the local store, go through the gaming mags, write down all the cheat codes, and so I'd go to school and be like, oh, they'd be like, oh, have you got the death move for Scorpion on Mortal Kombat? And I'm like, yeah, that would be a candy bar, please.
I remember writing down cheat codes for myself. I never sold them to other kids.
Honestly, I feel like the business intelligence and like fucking creativity that you had as a kid, Maria, is just gold. I would never have thought to do something like that. And of course they're in gaming mags and you could just flick through them. Cause I'm thinking like, what the fuck is she getting all the cheat codes to sell?
Yeah.
Like, of course you're just picking them up for free in a gaming mag in a bookstore.
You should be like, well, you can pay, £5 for a gaming mag, or, however much they were back then, or you could just come to me, give me a candy bar, and I'll give you the cheat code you want.
Just the one fucking death strike as well. It's like candy bar.
I need Scorpion's fatality number 2.
Yeah,
I have my coat on and just be like, do you want some cheat codes?
So cool. I actually can't imagine that, but it's just beautiful. Like, it is such chef's kiss content. That is fantastic.
Yeah, wheeling and dealing.
I also love your response. Be like, well, I'm from East London, mate.
We sold everything.
That's all the logic you need.
That checks out.
I mean, back then we would have stole your tires and sold them back to you. So
true.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was pretty good though. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode, guys. Just before we go, we can do a little website shout out of the latest articles available on the website for you to read right now. And the website I'm talking about is retroreplayShow.com.
Which website?
Which website? It's called retroreplayShow.com.
Perfect.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hello, how can I help you?
How can I help you? You looking for some tires, mate?
read the snippet in that voice.
What voice? Oh, I was gonna say like get Maria to do it. Gears of War fans will want to check out Jake Brown's article called Tears of War, where Jake breaks down what he believes are the top 10 most emotional moments from the long-running franchise. I can't check that out because I haven't played it yet, and I don't want to have spoilers. But I presume that it's full of spoilers. So if you have played the game and are a fan of the franchise, please go ahead and check out Jake Brown's article on Gears of War.
Big fan of Gears of War myself, and yes, he does actually have a big a spoiler alert in the beginning. Like if you haven't played through the games, there are spoilers in here. And I love this article because he makes a big point to mention that Gears of War is easily overlooked as having a decent story, and there's so many huge actual tear-jerking moments within the franchise. So if you're a fan of the series, relive those memories by reading this article, or if you don't plan on playing it, but you're curious, give it a read and see what we're talking about.
Excellent. And again, you can find that over on retroreplayshow.com. There is a lot of articles out there to suit anybody's taste. So feel free to go and have a look, have a gander. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Well, have a Barney.
Have a Butchers.
Have a Butchers. A Butcher's hook.
Have a Butcher's hook. That's
on
look.
Cockney.
Do you know what? Actually, a friend of mine is actually from London, and she said that same thing for me today.
Cockney.
I was like, "Hey, can you have a look at this ticket?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll just take quick Butchers." And I was like, "I haven't heard that
funny
phrase."
because my husband says it sometimes. He's like, "Oh, go have a Butchers," and I'm like, "The fuck are you doing?"
You can't say it. You're American.
You're not allowed.
Did you ever see that bit? Like, were you ever then really fucking confused, Daniel? When Daniel, I saw your name again.
Daniel.
I know it's always weird whenever she calls me Daniel. I'm like,
it's
who are you
because
talking
I checked.
to?
I saw the bottom of the screen and I saw Daniel, so I just called it Daniel.
I try to change my name in Zoom so you stop seeing that.
Excuse me, Daniel. Were you ever then really confused in that like Austin Powers scene between Michael Caine and Mike Myers?
I'm not sure which one you're referring to. It's been a long time since I've seen Austin Powers, but probably
I'm going to
assume I have seen it.
Yes, I have seen.
Okay, good. Because essentially it's all of those Cockney colloquialisms where they're talking about butchers is a butcher's hook, which is a look. It's stuff that rhymes. Yeah, anyway.
Oh, okay, I think I know what you're talking about, where they kind of have just it's like a few moments where they're just back and forth at each other, and you're just kind of like, if you don't know Cockney, you're just gonna be like,
if you don't know Cockney slang, you are fucked. That scene is really confusing if you don't know Cockney slang.
Yeah.
Do you want some cheat codes? You want Butchers?
Yeah, I'll take a Butchers and some cheat codes, please. Thank you so much again for coming on, Maria. What or where? Sorry, where can they find you? What are your socials?
I am Twitter Pocket Ninja 85. Twitch is twitch.tv/Pocket Ninja 85.
Yay! Pocket Ninja 85. Excellent. Dan.
I am Stark E Vash on Twitter and Stark Evil Vash on any other platform you might look for me. Excellent.
And I am Pagan Plays on Twitter and at Pagan_Plays on Instagram and Twitch. So yeah, thank you guys so much. If any members are listening and they have any members questions or anything for Retro Replay, please send them over to members@retroreplayshow.com. And if you have a question for us here on the Replayer Podcast, send it over to thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com. All of this will be in the show notes, so feel free to go and check that out, including our social handles. And yeah, I guess that we'll see you guys next time. That's all, folks.
Thank you, Maria.
Bye.
Thanks, Maria. Bye, guys. Game over.
Game over.
Game over.
Pew, pew, pew. Hang on.